Oh yeah, we're back discussing matters that pertain to the work in the 10. Up until now, we've been talking about preparing for the Congress and things like that. And before we actually dive into the work in the 10, I think we're all still kind of running on the wave of the Congress. And this is what I wanted to talk about, because Congresses have a pre-Congress effect. Usually it's all kinds of last-minute difficulties and things like that, all kinds of hurdles that the Creator places on our way to see if we really want it, and moves them away only in the very last minute after we said, no matter what, I'm going. And then there are the after effects, because a Congress is a unique experience where we open our hearts to many friends at a very intimate event, and for an extended period of time, 3 days. In some cases, as we just heard, 5 days, like in the case of the New York ladies from New York 3. And so it increases our avut, our coarseness. You know what avut means in Hebrew, by the way? It's actually a better word than coarseness. Thickness. It makes you thick. So there are situations, and this is what I want to talk about: how to use that enhanced coarseness that we have now in a positive way to lift us to the next degree. Speaking of which, the next big Congress is February 19 to the 21st. You guys know about that? If you don't, you do now. So let me just read you something real quick from Rav's words. This is something he said after a Congress, probably a big Congress, because it was probably one of the big Congresses in Israel, because it's from March 3, 2023. So it's not a big Congress. Okay, probably a virtual Congress or something like that, because it's right after COVID. Okay, so this is what I've said. The 10 should create a situation within it that awakens each of the friends to become closer and closer emotionally, to be close to one another. If we do so, we will surely advance, and each one will progress through his friend. This is called each shall help his friend, to such an extent that we will have no descents, but rather each time we will immediately turn them, the descents, into ascents. It is just like walking on our legs, left, right, for otherwise we will not be able to move forward. Let me read it again, because this is important. The 10 should create a situation that awakens each of the friends to become closer and closer emotionally, to feel closer to each other. If we do so, we will surely advance, and each one will progress through his friend. This is called each shall help his friend, to such an extent that we will have no descents, but rather each time we will immediately turn them into ascents. It is just like walking on our legs, left, right, for otherwise we cannot move forward. So this is the first thing to remember. By the way, I'm also reminding you that if you have questions, you just pop on that hand, and we will get to these questions. Also, if it's not related to this discussion, something more general about the 10, that's, anything that's on your mind, just bring it on. So what is important to remember here is that, the left, right, it sounds nice theoretically, but in practice, what happens is that I hate my friends. That's the left. So it's not easy to go from there to the right, to a situation where I love my friends, because that's the right. Okay? When you condemn the friends, it's the left. When you justify the friends, it's the right. For us, okay? I'm not talking about spiritual definition of it, but in our day-to-day work with the 10. That's a good enough definition. So it's not easy to change that. But even when we walk, we put in energy, right? We don't stop because we stepped on the left foot. We don't stop there, right? We're in constant motion, constantly exerting, investing energy, and continuing forward, right? If we want to get where we want to go, then we have to go through the left and the right, and we have to use energy for that. What does that mean? It means that even when I don't like my friends, I continue walking. And what does that mean? It means I continue coming to the lesson. I continue coming to the Zoom meetings. I continue participating in Love of Friends. I fake smiles. Yeah, I fake them. Don't worry, it's contagious. I speak highly about the friends, even when I don't, especially when I don't feel like that. Okay? And by this energy alone, I reach the right side. This is the meaning of continuous walking on the path in Kabbalah. Okay? That's what it means. This is why whenever Rav is asked, what is the most important thing? He always says, keep going. He talks about consistency. And this is why Bala Sulam writes that only those who had the patience, remember, from the introduction to the book, to the study of the 10 Sfirot, only those who had the patience defeated the guards. What was their patience? Despite all the revelations of the ego, they continued walking in the same direction until they finally broke through. Okay, and our path is pretty straightforward, It's to be in the lessons, it's to try to love the friends, or at least work on it. And basically, that's about it. And otherwise, conduct a regular life. So those who have the patience and continue going left, right, will win, will get to their goal. The only thing is, don't quit. That's all. And okay, so that was number one. The first thing I wanted to say. The second thing is the importance of having a YH. Now, a rumor came to me that not every single 10 in the North American Kli has a weekly YH. This is a pity. Why is it a pity? Because I got to tell you, it slows you guys down. Seriously. A weekly YH is like a It's like taking a bath. You wash off all the dirt from your soul just by being with the friends and speaking highly of each other. I don't know if you guys watched the lesson that Avihu and Michael Sanilevich gave last Wednesday about the agenda of the assembly. They talked about how the first thing you do when you get together is you have a round of praises. Each one praises the society, meaning the 10, or the path, or the lessons, or the teachers, just speaking highly of elements on our path. And they said there that you don't limit yourself when you do that. You let yourself go. You give each friend 2-3 minutes to pour out their hearts. It can take as long as 20 minutes. I know in my 10, it can take even more than that. Actually, the lion's share of the YHs in my 10 is praises. That's basically what we do. Sometimes we don't even have any big discussions. We just we praise, and then we eat, and then we drink, and then we praise some more, and then we sing, and then we go home. But we go home filled with gratitude and strength. And that's the point. It's like a refuel, it's like a recharge of the battery. It's a must. So every 10 should have a weekly YH, doesn't matter if it's physical or virtual, whatever framework your 10 works at. Just do that. Meet once a week to talk about nothing but greatness. If you have something to discuss, it should be in between. You begin with greatness, then you give maybe 10 minutes for a discussion. It usually doesn't take more than that, because by that time, everyone's so open-hearted that whatever problem there was, it's resolved in 10 minutes. And from there, you move into another round of gratitude. How wonderful it is that we have this 10, that we have this path, that we have this method. It's really a method by which to overcome ourselves. And that's it. You sing a couple of songs and you walk home happy. Okay, so this is very important, the weekly YH. And before I open it to questions, one more thing I wanted to talk about. One of the ways, if I fall into a serious descent, so one of the ways to come out of it, if just, the routine doesn't help, is to do something out of the ordinary, to change something in my life, to help me with a goal. For example, taking on a new role in dissemination. Here I want to talk about the importance of dissemination. It can be something else, but I just want to focus for a minute on dissemination. Why is dissemination good for us? At the moment, Rav's focus is only on the 10. He hardly talks about anything else. However, if we did not have dissemination, none of us would be here. Every single one of us, including me, is here because someone disseminated the wisdom to us. It started from Rav disseminating the wisdom, went on to his first student, and they started disseminating, and that's how it went on and on and on. And all of us are here because of dissemination. So it's critically important for the continuation of Bnei Baruch, of the spreading of the method to the rest of humanity, which is, I'm sure you'll agree, the best thing we can give to humanity, that we disseminate, that we contribute to dissemination where and how we can. It does not relate to our work in the 10. That's the spiritual work we do among us, and that's what Rav focuses on, and that's fine. But he leaves the work on dissemination for us. It doesn't mean that we don't, that there's no need for dissemination. It just means that it's on us. The onus is on us these days, because he doesn't do it now. He doesn't have the energy, as you can see. And he also wants us to grow up. So we need to find ways to participate in dissemination. If we cannot do it virtually, we should find other ways. But it's important for us to try to contribute to it however we can. I know that some people put on, like in Salt Lake City, right, Chaim? They have book stands, right? Every week, I think.
Yes.
Okay, great. There are other ways to do this, to disseminate. It can be done through your own personal profiles on social media. If you don't want to expose yourself as a Kabbalah student, you can do it through another profile. Or you contact us, the English department, and you join in with the people who manage dissemination, and they'll find something for you to do. But it's important that you involve yourself in it. And there is a spiritual benefit for it, for each of us. Not only that it helps humanity, but each of us who disseminates connects himself or herself to those we disseminate to, even if we don't know them. Because we are the conduit when we disseminate. Like it or not, even consciously or not, when we disseminate, what are we disseminating? We're disseminating light. We're disseminating the Creator. Even if we don't know what we're saying, the very fact that we could open someone's heart to the wisdom, we became the conduit. So if you know that there's a spiritual root, when Anpin gives to Nukva, he gives her the light she needs, but because of it, he gets twice as much. He gets it first and then passes it on. But that's how the spiritual law works, that whoever passes through himself. There's no other way. We are the conduits. So the light passes through us. We always, we want to draw a reforming light. We think about it during the lessons and all that. The minute we disseminate to one person, we've done that. Thinking about it or not, we've done that. Because that person would not receive the light were it not for us. So it went through us, so we got it. Okay? So just know that every person that you touched, not only that person was touched by the light, but you were given additional light. So that was it for now. Okay, we have a few minutes for questions. Okay, guys, shoot. Yeah, Carl.
Okay. Yeah, it kind of goes right with what you just said. And I just want to know about, is there ineffective dissemination? You said even if you just touch one person, of course, that's effective. So do I continue with what I think is not effective enough?
The only thing that I would refrain from is dissemination that can backfire. Meaning what? If I start disseminating where I work, some people don't react too well to Kabbalah. And you never know who's going to react how. So this is where I don't take chances. I don't disseminate at work or within within my family, the closest, the close circle. My family knows, that I study. I'm not talking about my personal family; they are all in it. But in general, your family will know that you study, right? They do, even if they don't approve. But like in family gatherings, you sit together at a big family meal on whatever holiday, and then people start asking, so what is this Kabbalah that you're studying? What is it about? Just give them a short, evasive answer. It's nothing. It's about, it's a hobby. Just like that. It's something that it's interesting. It's about life, etc. Something like that, and just change the subject. Don't get into details, and and the last thing you want to do is teach them. They'll start thinking you're a preacher. They'll start thinking you are patronizing them. Stay out of trouble. Okay? Don't disseminate within your family, and don't disseminate within your workplace. It can get you fired. Okay? This is not a good idea. Right? Everywhere else is open season. Okay? Now, about effective or ineffective, if you have something more effective and something less effective, do the more effective. Otherwise, do whatever you can. Right? Okay. John.
I'll let John, but I want to know what more effective and less effective are. Do I make that choice on my own?
It's hard to say, really. First of all, it's got to be something that you like, because otherwise you won't be able to continue for a long time.
Okay.
And you'll get better at it as you go along. Okay, John, and then Dree. Dree was first, but okay, I let go, John. He's done cutting the vegetables.
Thanks, Chaim. Hey, I just wanted to follow up on what you said. The last thing you said about just one person in the dissemination. I'm part of the Buddy Project. And yesterday we had one of the recurring meetings. And it was an amazing experience. The four of us who were the Buddy guys waiting for the other students who are doing the Kabbalah Revealed, it was just the four of us. And Julia said, well, let's just continue on. So we started the whole thing, and one person joined. This one student joined, and it changed everything. All of us walked away. I won't get into the details, but it was the most amazing 5-person connection, all because we just stuck it out. And then this one student who had a voracious appetite for this came in the exchange, and the questions were amazing. So, I just wanted to share that, because you just never know what's around the corner and how the creator is going to work. And it just takes one person. So thank you.
I have nothing to say but L'chaim. Dree.
Would it be possible to get some contact information on the dissemination projects that we have and who to contact?
To get all the information, I think it's best to reach out to Asaf, the head of the department. If you don't have his contact info, just send me a reminder or something, and I'll give it to you. Okay.
May I add something to that? If you go to our main page and click on dissemination, and then there's one more thing to click, you'll see all the projects that are available there. And some of them will be marked that they're no longer around, but you can find a lot of them there.
Thank you, Mary. There you go. But also, if you want more details, just let me know. Okay, we have to finish, but I'm gonna let Terrence ask real quick, and then we'll finish. Okay, because we have to be ready by 6:30, by 11:30.
Hey, hey, friends. Yeah, I just had a question regarding dissemination. So we find ourselves in an age where a lot of people are starting to realize a lot of what they used to cling to isn't really going to work. So I was curious about if you were somebody with a platform and it's not going to cause professional blowback, if you wanted to write like op-eds that kind of talked about Kabbalistic ideas in like a Trojan horse kind of way, but didn't present them as that, just to get people's minds thinking or maybe their hearts moving, is that something that is done? You know, I see Rob, you all have a LinkedIn post, LinkedIn blog with
Yeah,
Rob.
if you can,
and things like that.
if you can write op-eds well, by all means. Rob used to do it all the time on all the big platforms, from the smallest paper in Israel to the New York Times. He would do it all the time.
Perfect. Thank
And
you.
I will mention that there is an active writers group that you can join.
Oh, wow. Okay. I didn't know that. Thank you.
All right. I think you guys need to speak to Mary, not to Asaf. No, but seriously, if you want more information, go to the site, go to Ask Mary, Ask Me. We'll help you guys out. All right.
It's Iva, and I will post the link to HR in the chat
All
and
right.
the email address.
All right. There you go. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, Chaim, and a special thanks to all of you. Be sure to join us on the Arvut system, where our association CEO will share some updates. See you next time. Elif?
We came from distant places, but now we're feeling